Hi, I'm Starborn. Remember, to be a star, you have to shine your own light, follow your own path, and not worry about the darkness, because that's when stars shine brightest. If you've been looking at our website, starborninstitute.org, you would already know that the title of tonight's show is Angry Words, and you may be full of angry words or even angry thoughts in the next week, because there are some very harsh aspects among at least 8 of the planets, and that could lead you to say a little bit too much, and oh boy, that would be costly. So I'm urging everyone not to express any angry words this week, but it could be very challenging. And you're going to have to try awfully hard not to do that, because it would hurt you as well as others. And the reason why is that there are 4 planets in the mutable signs which are all squaring and opposing each other in a T-cross. And that is because Jupiter in Virgo, which rules fact-finding and service to others, and is a very good planet, is opposing the Moon today and Neptune, which are in Pisces. Pisces rules hidden enemies, and it does rule cover-ups, and it also rules creativity and divine inspiration, particularly when those 2 wonderful planets, the Moon and Neptune, are close together. But in opposition, it means that, are you going to believe somebody's made-up tale, or are you going to believe the facts? And so that can be a standoff right there. And the problem is that Saturn in Sagittarius is squaring the Moon and Neptune. When Saturn and the Moon square or oppose each other, it can indicate that parents are not getting along, and that can lead to trouble, because it means that parents can be in a disagreement that can lead to them being disillusioned, or there could be even some deception going around right now. And that Saturn in Sagittarius is also squaring Jupiter in Virgo. And Saturn is a planet that demands that you do everything right or else do it over. And it is a planet of obstruction and delay. And so it can be having the effect of forcing people to do things again and again in order to have doubtful people believe them. There can be a lot of people with a lot of doubt right now. And so those planets are not getting along, and that means there can be disagreement and disillusion because of it. There is another T-cross, though, in cardinal signs, and this is where there can be more provocation and a lot of angry words. And that is because Uranus in Aries, which is a love planet and a planet of very sudden change. Uranus rules not only sudden change, but it rules anything that goes through the air. And so it rules aviation and space travel and computers and electricity. And that planet is being sorely challenged right now by both Mars and Venus in Libra. Libra rules the law, and it rules partnerships, and it rules contracts. With Mars there is the possibility, since it is opposing Uranus, of some very sudden change going on, or a sudden separation, divorce, or broken contract. With Venus there, it simply means that since Venus is one love planet and Uranus is the other, that people are not seeing eye to eye about the true meaning of love or of partnership. Because Uranus wants to be free. It does rule freedom, and it is a rebellious planet, but Venus in Libra wants to be in partnership and wants to have peace. So there can be some angry words, perhaps provoked by jealousy, and that is because Mars can denote jealousy, greed, and anger, and war, and violence. And that's why we have to be very careful, because Mars is going to be in Libra throughout the holidays, and it will not leave Libra until January 3rd. It gets a little worse than that, though, because Pluto in Capricorn is squaring that Uranus. Pluto's backed up. It's being trine by Jupiter in Virgo, but it denotes people who can make or change policies. And that's because they can be pretty high up in management in government agencies or large corporations. And so they want people to toe the line. And yet Uranus is that planet of rebellion and freedom. So somebody who's very used to getting their own way, since Uranus is in Aries, the sign of people who like to be first, there can be a clash there. And there can be people who do not want to conform to what management wants them to do. And there is the problem of angry words because of lack of funding. And that can be because now Mars in Libra, along with Venus, is being squared by that Pluto in Capricorn. And when Mars and Pluto square each other, and they are the rulers of Scorpio, it means the money's drying up. It means that financing isn't going to be so easy to get. It can mean that interest rates are rising. It can also mean that the high cost of living, is a little harder to fit into our budgets because perhaps wages are not going up quite as fast as the cost of everything else. And that can create some sort of financial crunch, or as I said, lack of funding that can lead once again to a separation or a divorce or a broken contract. And since Libra does rule the law, there can be plenty of lawsuits started now, and they would go nowhere. And so I'm advising you, try to keep a lid on your anger. Even if you don't agree with other people, try to keep your opinions to yourself all throughout the holidays. And whatever you do, do not get in a lawsuit. You won't win, but you will probably suffer a financial loss instead because somebody's got to be paid, and even the prices of lawsuits are going up. So that is why there can be angry words. It's going to be pretty hard to keep a lid on your anger in the next week and throughout the holidays, but you've got to try to do that because it isn't going to get you anywhere even if you do blow up. And it really could create a lot of problems that you would regret. However, it can be that all's well that ends well eventually. And the reason why is that there are 4 wonderful planets in a trine in water signs. And that is because the Sun and Mercury today are in Scorpio. They're near the end of Scorpio. And they are beautifully trining the Moon and Neptune in Pisces, which, as I said, are very inspirational planets. And so there are a number of things that can be happening right now. And that is because, the water signs rule healing. So there can be healing, justice, and compassion that can result right now from being a little bit more understanding. And that can lead to a possible move right now. And that is because the 4 planets in water signs are all trining the sign of Cancer, which does rule the home and real estate. So with some healing, some justice, and some compassion, those all could lead to a move that could result in perhaps allowing you to make a dream come true or to just begin something new. And I think that a new beginning is eventually possible as soon as the angry words lose their sting. But it would be a whole lot better if there weren't any angry words at all. And so I'm hoping that a lot of people exercise a great deal of discretion and prudence over the holidays, because you could regret it if you blow up, and you would really regret it if you got in a lawsuit, because there just wouldn't be any winners. All right, what does this mean to all 12 of the sun signs? Well, Aries, for you, I think there is the definite possibility of some sort of separation coming up. It could be that you're just planning a trip, and so you might be going out of town. That would be good. It might get you away from people that are making you angry. Or there is the possibility, since there is a harsh T-square among cardinal signs, and yours is a cardinal sign, and because Mars is opposing Uranus in your sign, which is an element of extreme sudden danger. So there could be a change in your life simply because you could be a victim. You could be in the wrong place at the wrong time. Or you could decide to rebel, and that would be because you did not want to follow the strict orders of management or of policies, or it could be because there is an element of danger or of jealousy and anger around as well. And so I think there is the possibility of some sort of separation now, Aries. It could be of your own choosing, or it can be forced right now. It could be forced because of budget cuts or due to lack of funding. So there can be some shifting because of that. But you do need to really try very, very hard to keep yourself under complete control from now on, Aries. And that is because You are in a vulnerable position right now, and that will continue until January 3rd when Mars finally leaves its opposition to your sign. But that's your ruler, and it is not in a good position for your sign, and that's why you need to be very, very careful. And as I said, no matter how angry you get, don't let anybody know it, Aries. You'll regret it. Okay, what does it mean to a Taurus? Well, Taurus, your ruler Venus is involved in this harsh T-square in cardinal signs, and Mars is sort of coming up pretty close to it. So there can be some controversy in your life about a legal matter or a partnership or a contract. And so you might be embroiled in some sort of confrontation because of that. And I'm urging you to take it real slow, Taurus, because actually with Jupiter in Virgo trining your sun and Pluto in Capricorn trining your sun, your long-term interests are not being threatened in any way. And also, by paying attention to facts and details, you're going to probably be able to be a little bit more efficient and cut your budget in important places. And that's a good idea because the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio are opposing your own sun sign, and that means that there are going to be higher costs, higher taxes, the higher cost of credit, or it can simply be that insurance costs are going up. Those are ruled by Scorpio as well. So you could be facing higher costs and some sort of partnership or legal controversy. And I would say just go slow, take one step at a time, and realize that your foundation, your real secure foundation, is not being rocked. And so don't get in the middle of somebody else's fight right now, Taurus. You don't need to. You're not being threatened that much, but you probably will have to come up with a little extra money right now, and that's why you need to be a little more frugal and watch your budget. Okay, what does it mean to a Gemini? Well, Gemini, it's wonderful that Mars and Venus in Libra are trining your sun, because that simply means that there can be some good news or a very nice partner somewhere around, or good news about some sort of a legal matter that may get settled now, or it can be that some details get worked out in a contract. That could help you a little bit. Or it can be that somebody is wanting to work you a little bit too hard. Maybe they want you to solve their problems. I would certainly not do that, Gemini. And the reason why is you have a few problems of your own. They may not be big problems, but they can be adding up. And those are what you should pay attention to over the holidays. And that is because Jupiter in Virgo is squaring your sun, perhaps making you a little bit extravagant, so you might want to cut back. And that is in order to allow some extra savings for higher costs that may be hitting you soon. And also, you need to watch your health a little bit more closely. And that is so that you can sort of nip problems in the bud and not let them go to the point where they would be very costly. So that you need to pay attention to that. And the moon and Neptune in Pisces are squaring your sun, which means there can be deception around. And that means that parents could be disillusioned, or it could be that the facts now are presented in a way that simply blows the cover off of somebody's successful deception, and they could get caught. And that could be because they were faking or just plain lying. And if you are going to get involved in anybody else's problems right now, Gemini, you will regret it. And that is because if you take sides, you're going to end up being the odd man out, because Saturn, that planet of hard work and obstruction, is opposing your sun sign. And that Sagittarius is going to get even stronger by the end of the month when there's a full moon in your sign. But the sun will go into Sagittarius, and it will be the sun and Saturn opposing your sign. And so, you know, that's what I mean by stay out of everybody else's business, Gemini, even though your sign does rule gossip, and try not to take sides. And that is because you've got a few problems of your own, and that's what you need to attend to right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Cancer? Well, Cancer, remember I said that it can be that all's well that ends well, because there are 4 fabulous planets, including the lights, in the water signs. So the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio are trining your sun, and the Moon, your own ruler, and Neptune in Pisces are also trining your sun. And that simply means that with healing, justice, and compassion, there can be some sort of move underway that you may be involved in, Cancer, and that would be very good for you. And it could make a dream come true. It can allow for some sort of new beginning, and that would make you very, very happy. You should go for that, Cancer, because there is still a T-cross in cardinal signs, meaning that Mars and Venus in Libra are squaring your Sun, and Mars is the troublemaker. And so you need to be very careful about signing contracts or getting involved in other partnership issues. You better stay out of them, Cancer, because you won't win. And Uranus in Aries is squaring your Sun, and it is under so much pressure from the other planets, particularly Mars, that it could sort of blow up at any time, and that could cause an unsettling event in your life. So you need to stick to what can make you happy and stay out of other people's controversies, particularly anything legal. You'd better stay away from that. And if there are angry words, you need to be as quiet as you can right now, Cancer, because your emotions could get stirred up, but it is not going to do you any good to express them right now. In fact, you could create enemies. And that is why you better just stick to home and family and a possible move. Okay, what does it mean to a Leo? Well, Leo, this is a time when I think that you can be assured that there is always going to be some way out for you, and at least for the next year or two. And the reason why is that Uranus in Aries is going to be trining your Sun. It's under tremendous duress right now. It may not be too much help to you now, but it is going to be trining your Sun for years to come. And Saturn in Sagittarius is going to be trining your Sun for at least 2 more years. And that simply means that there can be some older and wiser and more experienced people around who would support you if you wanted to take on some sort of hard work. And if you decide to do that, even if it is very hard, there could be a real boost for you in about 2 years. But it would take a real commitment on your part, Leo. Just remember, you've got that kind of support in place for years to come. And so the party is over because the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio are squaring your Sun, and that means there can be a financial issue that is sort of, you've really got to pay attention to right now. Either you're overspending, or you could be caught in this trap where wages are not going up, but the high cost of living is. And so, you know, you need to put away a little bit more money or pay down debt if you can, Leo, in order to be in a position where you can take advantage of some sudden change. Because I think there is going to be an opportunity for you, or an opening for you, once something very sudden and perhaps detrimental to others, but not to you, happens, and that could leave an opening that you could take advantage of very, very quickly. That may be coming up either by the end of December or by January. And so you want to be in a position where you can take advantage of new starts if they do arise, Leo. That's why you need to sort of settle down a little bit. Okay, what does it mean to a Virgo? Well, Virgo, this is a time when facts need to be checked again and again. And that is what you go by. And the reason why you're going to have to stick to facts instead of everything else, particularly what other people are telling you, is because the Moon and Neptune in Pisces are now strongly opposing Jupiter in your sign, and Saturn in Sagittarius is squaring that Jupiter. That simply means that parents aren't getting along. They can be disillusioned. It also means that somebody's cover-up, very successful cover-up, is about to be shattered, and the truth really will come out. But they could still try very, very hard to sell you a lot of blue sky right now. People who are strong in the sign of Pisces are always, they're somewhat prone to be the victims. And it can be because they're a little bit too charitable at times and they can be taken advantage of. Or else it can be that they want to sort of only say good things and not tell the whole truth about something, and then they can be caught in that trap by not admitting the truth. So there may be somebody around now, Virgo, that is only telling you what you want to hear. And they probably want you to feel sorry for them as well. And you have got to just cut it out. because, you know, that is falling for something that is not involving the whole truth. That's why I say stick to the facts only right now. And that may mean that you have to step back a little bit from a relationship and look at it from a little further distance away in order to get a better perspective. But I advise that you do that. Also, for the next 2 years, you're going to have to work twice as hard as you usually would, but there will be a fantastic reward for that afterwards. And that's why you need to sort of keep working on what you're doing, Virgo, and don't give up no matter what. Okay, what does it mean to a Libra? Well, Libra, the angry words can either come from you or be about you. And the reason why is that Mars is in your sign along with Venus, and Uranus in Aries is opposing those two planets. And Uranus and Venus are the love planets, but they're not getting along, which means somebody really wants their freedom, whereas you want peace and partnership. However, it can be that somebody is jealous either of someone else or of you. And that can be because you are peaceful. Most Libras are rather good looking because Libra is ruled by Venus, and Venus rules art and beauty. And so you can be unwittingly engendering jealousy in other people. And this is when you may have to endure that burden a little bit more as they come down a little bit hard on you, Libra. And you know, they're being either malicious or greedy or jealous, but that's not going to do you any good. So you need to really step back and try to find a little peace of mind all on your own. The other problem is that their money is drying up because Mars in your sign is being squared by Pluto now, and those are the two rulers of Scorpio. And when they are in harsh aspect, that means that the high cost of living can be hitting everyone, including you. So no matter how angry you get about an injustice or the bad ways somebody is treating you, you really cannot afford to get in a lawsuit or even let your anger show. At least not now, and certainly not over the holidays, because there could be a sudden separation, divorce, or broken contract, and that would go against you. And if you don't want that, you really got to keep a lid on it. And it's going to be awfully hard for you to do. That's why you need to step back and try to find a little piece of your own. And you make time for yourself now, Libra, and that will help you withstand some of the troubles around you. Okay, what does it mean to a Scorpio? Well, Scorpio, this is a time when I think healing, justice, and compassion can lead to some sort of move that helps you make a dream come true, because the Sun and Mercury in your sign are being beautifully trined by the Moon and Neptune in Pisces, and together they trine the sign of Cancer. And so I think that with no planets in the other fixed signs harshly aspecting your sun sign, that you need to sort of go on your own road. You may be deciding to move or to build a home, and that would be a good idea. Your sign rules construction. So I don't see anything stopping you if you have your own money. But if you're looking for financing, that's going to be a little harder to do because your rulers are in harsh aspect to each other, and they're going to stay that way throughout the holidays. So you too need to step back and sort of keep a lid on any anger and don't let it show, Scorpio. And a good way to do that is just focus on your own dreams and not anyone else's right now. Okay, what does it mean to a Sagittarius? Well, Sagittarius, this is a time when I think you can certainly be helped by some sudden change, and it can be very abrupt, that occurs in somebody else's life. And that is because that Uranus in Aries, which is trining your sun, is under so much duress that sooner or later there's going to be an explosion, or there's going to be an abrupt departure, or there is going to be some broken contract or a severing of ties. And that might do you some good because Uranus is actually trining your sun, and where you have Saturn, and the sun is going to come into your sign by next week. And so Sagittarius, I would just sort of sit and wait right now and not get involved in anything else. Don't get involved in deceptions. Remember, the Moon and Neptune are squaring your sun, which means that you may not be agreeing with other people, and particularly all the good things they're saying that may not be true. Do not believe blue sky right now. Sagittarius. Nobody should. And also you need to concentrate a little bit more on your health. So you have enough to do just concentrating on your own concerns, but get ready for a possible sudden opening that could do you some good, Sagittarius. Okay, what does it mean to a Capricorn? Well, Capricorn, you can certainly be under duress right now, and that is because yours is a cardinal sign, and Uranus in Aries is squaring your sign, and whereas your sign is fortified by a trine from Jupiter in Virgo, which means, okay, by careful attention to detail, you're the person that does have the facts and knows sort of the right way to go. But other people can be very rebellious right now and not want to listen to you, so that can bother you. And Mars and Venus in Libra are squaring your sun, and Mars is squaring Pluto in your own sun sign, which means the funding is drying up. And that's due to the high cost of living, and not everyone is going to be able to counter that or pay for it. And so I think that you need to withdraw right now, Capricorn, and only think about what your budget will allow. And don't get in the middle of anybody else's fight, and don't get anywhere near a lawsuit, Capricorn. It isn't going to work for anybody, but particularly not for you, because there are too many other harsh aspects to your sun sign. And the bad does outweigh the good. There's only one good aspect to your sun sign now, and that is Jupiter, which is wonderful. But that doesn't outweigh what else is going on. So stay out of trouble and stay by yourself this week, Capricorn. That's the best way to avoid it, to avoid problems. Okay, what does it mean to an Aquarian? Well, Aquarius, this is simply a time when I think you benefit greatly because Mars and Venus in Libra are trining your sun, and that simply means that you can be willing to help other people out, and there can be some sort of nice, even peace settlement around, or talk of it, or some sort of compromise that you can be interested in. But at the same time, there can be legal problems around, and you would not want to get involved in that. So even if you feel angry about something, particularly about a financial matter, this is not the time to fight about it or even express your anger, Aquarius, because Mercury and the sun in Scorpio are squaring your own sun. And a financial problem is not going to be resolved right now, but it could eventually, particularly if you don't show how mad you are about it. Just sort of keep cool right now, Aquarius. That's your best bet for getting through a troubled time. And the reason why it might be hard for you is because your ruler, Uranus, is the one that's under so much duress. And so that puts you under duress too. So you got to be real careful this week and stay under control. Okay, what does it mean to a Pisces? Well, Pisces, the Moon and Neptune, two divinely inspirational planets, are in your sun sign, and they are being trined beautifully by the Sun and Mercury in Scorpio. And that simply means there is the possibility of a move or the ability to make a dream come true right now, which would be wonderful. If there are any angry words that other people are expressing, you need to sort of pretend you didn't hear it, Pisces, and you need to stay out of everybody else's business or fights right now too. You don't have a fighting nature. So withdraw when you can, Pisces, because you're under very good aspects to succeed at making your own dreams come true. So stick to that. All right.